What up, guys? Very aggressive this afternoon.
Afternoon?
Welcome back to another episode of Nick and Manny's Infinite Podcast. Well, I mean, it's 6:36. It's not night yet. Evening.
Evening is the word.
You want me to start off like Dracula? You want me to just come up out of the podcast and go like, "Good evening"?
I mean, yeah. Would that be too much to ask?
A little bit.
To me, afternoon becomes evening at 5 p.m. That's my cutoff. When afternoon becomes evening, that's when people get off work. That just seems like a natural transition point.
Okay. Speaking of transitions, Nick's here, guys.
Great transition. I'm here, everybody. How we doing tonight?
We are doing fabulous. It's been, how long has it been? Like 3 weeks?
Let me see. Because I put in the descriptions now the dates that we originally recorded these, just for posterity.
Yeah, I have no
let's look at the last
clue when this
episode. April 20th, 2022.
Hey, almost. We recorded on 4/20?
Apparently.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that is a week away. May 20th is a week away.
Yeah, so 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But we did it. I did it, guys. I finished school.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that.
I'm done with school. I no longer have to worry about the classes I was worried about. I no longer have to worry about my capstone. I have, I think, like 4 classes that I need to do before we're completely done with school. I checked today. I have 117 credits out of 120 credits, and I looked at the credits that I still need, and I'm pretty sure I have all of them. I just need to meet with a advisor and make sure that I have all of them. But I passed all my classes, 3 A's, 1 pass, 1 B. Yeah, that's what I finished with. 3 A's, 1 pass, 1 B.
I'm proud of you. You're one step closer. You're so close now.
I'm 1 step closer. I'm so close. Did I say cancer? I said I'm 1 step closer. I'm almost done. I graduate in December. I no longer have to worry about housing or paying for housing. I mean, I'll eventually have to pay back for housing because moving out and all that stuff. But for now, I can just relax and I don't have to worry about it. And that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
To me, it's a very beautiful thing. I never have to go back to school.
I miss summer breaks.
Yeah.
Even though I've still had like last summer, I didn't get my job until the end of July, and summer 2020 was COVID, so I wasn't doing anything. So I've still like had summer breaks essentially every year, but actually having them during school was great, especially like before college. Because in college, all those years felt like, man, I'm wasting my summer. But before college, all the summers just felt magical.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Jay, I'm graduating at 21. That's not that young.
I was still 21 when I graduated because I have a summer birthday.
Yeah, and mine's the week after him, so I was still gonna graduate at 21. If I had graduated at 20, right? Yes,
What?
if I had graduated last week, then I would have been really young.
Yeah.
But 21 is fine. Edith says that she should be graduating December too. Now, Edith, hear me out. You and me, our own mini WingerCon at Disneyland in December to honor our graduations. I'm just saying.
Just throwing that idea out there, huh?
Yeah. Me and Edith will have our own little meetup. Maybe we'll get Leah in there too.
Didn't you have an idea to like a couple years down the line do a big meetup at Disneyland with like you and everyone from over there and also me?
Did I?
I think you might have.
Did I do?
And I'll be there like, hey, I know Manny. I've talked to everyone else like once or twice.
Which will be exactly what will happen when Edith meets the Wangers and everyone.
Yeah, that's why when Edith wanted to go to WingerCon, I was like, you don't talk to us that much, Edith. Like, I feel like I'm the person from over there that you talk to the most, and we don't really talk that much. It's mostly just Manny.
I try to integrate Edith in there as much as possible.
Yeah.
Where it fits, of course.
Yeah.
But
whereas you didn't try and integrate me over there because you knew that wasn't my thing.
No, because you were going to have a miserable time.
Oh, yes. I check from time to time, and it's just way too active for me. I can't deal with all that activity.
Yes. No, I only get you in there when I'm like, okay, this is something that either I'm doing that I want Nick to be there for, or something that he might get a kick out of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a cesspool. We're very open about that. I told it to their faces yesterday. I'm like, the Discord is a cesspool.
Uh-huh. Ours kind of is at times, but like in a good
Sometimes,
way.
yes. I mean, this morning would be considered a cesspool, but it was so funny.
I don't even remember. I know we talked a lot today. I don't remember what about.
Moist.
Oh, that's right.
We're we were going through video games and we were changing each letter. We were changing one word in each game to
Yeah.
be the word moist.
The Legend of
So we
Zelda,
had the
Link's Moist.
Majora's Moist.
Yeah,
We
I like
had
those. If you have a name with a possessive in there, that's perfect because you can say this person is moist.
I liked the Moist of Us.
The Moist of Us, yeah, that was your best one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Harley had a couple good ones, and I can't remember them right now.
Need for Speed Moist Wanted. That was a good
Yeah.
one.
Oh, Harley had
That
Moist
was
Meat
Ravon.
Boy.
Moist Meat Boy. Yep, that was a good one.
It was either that or Super Moist Boy. Either one is good.
Super Moist Boy. Yeah, one. They're both good.
I'm just gonna type moist in the Discord.
That's a good one. Batman. Sorry, not Bateman.
Bateman.
No. Moist.
Oh, Super Moist Maker. That was Harley's other one. That was good.
Yep. We had Call of Duty Moist Warfare. No, Modern Moist 2. That was one that I did. Or maybe I did do Moist Warfare. God of Moist. That was in there.
I liked mine, which was Metroid Zero Moist.
Did I do Kingdom Moist or did I do Moist Hearts?
I think Kingdom Moist.
It better be Kingdom Moist.
Yes, it was Kingdom Moist. I'm looking at it now.
I did Lego Star Wars The Moist Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that one.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had fun this morning.
We did.
That's what matters. Speaking of things that we had fun with, and while we're still on the topic of video games, guys, I started a couple games. And by started a couple games, I mean I started one game. I recently started playing Mass Effect. And that's been fun. I've been enjoying diving into a space RPG before the space RPG that I was excited for this year that got delayed.
Sad.
I'm so sad about that. I'm sad about that one. I was looking forward to. I was literally talking about it this week more than I usually would, and I think it was because I was playing Mass Effect. But no, I started Mass Effect because the Legendary Edition is now on Game Pass. It's been on Game Pass for a couple months, but I didn't have something to where I felt I could actually play it well. But my grandparents recently sent me an Xbox Series S, so I've been playing it on that, and it's been really fun. And I've been playing some other games. I've been going back to I tried Fallout a little bit, and I tried Skyrim because I know that those got 60 FPS enhancements, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Are you the same game?
It's so weird.
And I've played Skyrim at 60 before, and I'm like, what the heck? Why does this feel better? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that I'm used to playing games at like 60, so when I'm playing something at 30, when I'm like, oh yeah, this should look like it's 30 FPS on a console, and then seeing it at 60, I'm like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, I was the same with those two games in particular because I just know them running like they ran before, and 30's not bad. Like we dealt with 30 for a long time in most games, and it was totally fine for the most part. It's just what they had at the time, and that was fine. But playing them at 60 is like, oh, I feel like I've been playing everything in slow motion my entire life.
And I'm glad that more people are seeing that, because for the longest time I've been a 60 FPS only like person. So I've been complaining. I'm like, why is this thing running at 30 when these machines can run it at 60? Please just give me a 60 FPS option. So now that more people are getting access to next-gen consoles or PCs when they can play things at 60, they're seeing how much of a difference it actually makes.
Yeah.
And why it is so important. So I'm all for people experiencing 60 FPS and even 120, which I know the Xbox Series X and S can do. It's not perfect, but they can start to hit those frame rate targets. So if you have a 120 FPS monitor or TV, then I'm sure you enjoy that. But 60 is beautiful. I love it. please, games, stay with 60. I'm glad that Lego Star Wars was in 60 finally. I mean, on PC you could always do it at 60, but for consoles, I'm glad that those were on 60. Yeah, console versions. I'm glad that those are now at 60. There are a couple other ones that I want to try out. I would like to see what the Tomb Raider games look like at 60 and with the Series S enhancements. But overall, I've been having not smart delivery, quick resume. Quick resume is a feature that I was very happy to be using because I would just go between games, and I have ADHD brain, so I just like having different series. I like having different games open that I can just go to immediately and have it take a couple seconds to load in. I
Mm-hmm.
did that with Halo Infinite a lot.
Yeah.
Of just jumping back into Halo.
Yeah, when I was going through the Infinite campaign, I would like pretty much just be in quick resume, especially when I was going through it on Legendary because I would be playing it like bit by bit. Because if I play it for too long, I'd get frustrated. So I would just pop in and pop out, and then just be able to pop right back in. So that was nice, and that's just nice for any game. Although I have been playing some 360 games recently, which we can talk about in a little bit. But when I try and
Mm-hmm.
quick resume them, the 360 infrastructure inside the Series X acts a little weird, and it thinks I've been signed in on another console, so it will disconnect me from Xbox Live, and I'll have to reconnect. So basically, I just end up having to close out the game and boot it back up, which is fine because games load freaky fast now on Series X, especially older games, obviously. So it's not that big of a deal, but it was something I noticed is a uh, little issue as far as quick resume went, as far as older games go. But didn't you have an issue with Mass Effect as far as that went too?
Mass Effect doesn't quick resume, which
Yeah,
I find really weird. I mean, it doesn't have to be because I don't think Mass Effect ever got. It hasn't received a Series X or S enhancement at all.
yeah, it did.
Whereas, no, it didn't.
I'm
There
pretty sure.
is no, there
Hold on.
is no Series S or X version of Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It's running back compat of the Xbox One versions
I'm
of the
gonna boot up
game.
my Xbox and test this out. Hold on. Because
I'm
I
telling you,
swear to
there is
God, it
no.
has the XS logo. I swear to
It
God.
does not.
Hold on.
There is no Series X or Series S enhanced version of the games other than backwards compatibility for them. He's booting it up right now, folks. In the meantime, Jay said, "Didn't Manny get his new console since the last pod?" Yeah, because we recorded 3 weeks ago, and I received my Series S last week. So that's always fun. But let's see, he is currently doing it. Let's see if it pops up in time and if he's gonna see that I'm right and he's wrong. Manny is correct. Thank you, Harley. He doesn't listen, guys.
Oh, hold
I
on.
know, I'd
I
say
see
this.
it. There's an XS right there. I will take a picture
But they
and send
never
it to you.
but they never received a next gen version of the games, is what I'm saying.
That's what that means.
No, they aren't released for next gen. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. They have not been released for next gen.
What do you mean? What's the difference? If they have the XS,
What's the
that means they've been optimized, which to me counts.
they are very different because getting an XS is very different than having a complete version for your console because those are running back compat. They aren't running there isn't like an official next gen version of the games is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah, but pretty much every game is like that because most people still have last gen hardware.
It is also up to the developers. So if EA doesn't enable maybe not enable, but it is also up to the developer for them to say, hey, put in quick resume. Because not all games have quick resume.
Yeah,
A big majority of them do.
EA in general
But EA
doesn't
is
seem
really
to do
weird.
it. Because I was telling you, I play like during football season, I played a lot of Madden, and the quick resume would work kind of, but it would act really wonky when I quick resumed, or sometimes it would just not work, and I'd have to restart the game.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, it was that. So I think it's just an EA issue.
Yeah. The point being, it doesn't quick resume, which is fine so long as you save. Because there was one time where I'm like, oh no, I didn't save. But luckily for me, it was in like a quick save spot. It auto saved. so I didn't lose anything. But just make sure that you are constantly saving after you do a quest or a mission or something of importance. But even then, I mean, loading back into the game is quick, so it's not a big issue in my opinion.
Yeah.
Other than that, have I been playing anything? I played some COD. I played some zombies because I realized that I have the DLC for Black Ops 1. So I played around a Call of the Dead, and that was fun. Some Overwatch 2. I did Slime Rancher in between our podcast and this one. But in general, it's been mostly focusing on school and now work. So when I do get to play something, it's usually Unite because they hound me to play Unite.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine because I enjoy the game.
You do enjoy that game. And I do. I
do.
can't play it like you do, but I do enjoy it every now and then popping
Listen,
in.
if you think I play it a lot, those people play it a lot. And by those people, I mean people over in front of the show, Max's server.
Mm-hmm.
They are playing it all day, every day. Anytime I go in there, they're like talking about playing that game. So I'm very happy for them. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
And my boy Blastoise got his Battle Pass skin this season, and it looks awesome. I am a couple levels away from getting it. I'll most likely get it Monday. Yeah, Monday is when I'll probably be able to get it. But outside of that, what have you been playing, man?
Oh, mostly it has been Xbox 360 games, 2 in particular. So the last couple weeks, I have been working my way through GTA 4, which was my childhood GTA. I think I last played it probably 6 or 7 years ago. I think it would have been like 5 years ago because the last save I had was a cloud save after it became backwards compatible in 2017, but I didn't get too far in it. So this is my first playthrough full playthrough in quite a while, and I love that game so much as a kid, and I've been really enjoying going back through it again. It's got a frame per an FPS boost on Series X, and it loads super fast. Like I haven't done an actual side-by-side comparison, but there's like 3 or 4 pictures that it will like slowly slide through as it loads on the 360, like just pieces of artwork like GTA does on their loading screens. And on Series X, it is one piece of art for about 2 seconds and then you're loaded in. It is so much quicker and it makes it a breeze to play through because that's always what killed me with like every GTA game was the long loading screens. So that's been nice. The game in general, it's a little clunky here and there, but I still really enjoy it. I don't love the open world as much as, say, GTA 5. There's not as much to do, but I do like all the stuff that you do, and I think it's the best written GTA with the best characters. So I'm enjoying going back through that. Have you ever played that one?
The only GTA I've played is 5.
Okay. Yeah, I've never talked with you about any of the other ones, so I didn't know your experience with the series was.
I wasn't allowed to play GTA as a kid, so I
That
never
makes sense.
did. And I've never really had a desire to go back to them.
One of my friends bought GTA 5 once he turned 17, and his parents still made him take it back. I'm like, he's 17.
Dang.
He legally went and bought it himself. Come on. And then he finally got it a couple years ago, and he's like, it's just okay. So that was sad. But with GTA 5, I get it. But that's another discussion. The other game that I've been playing on 360 is a first-timer for me, which is Sonic Generations. I got this, I think it was free with gold maybe a year or 2 ago, and I've just been sitting on it ever since because I like the concept. And I finally installed it, I guess, last week or earlier this week. I don't remember. But I've been playing it here and there, and I think I'm actually most of the way through because I went and looked at howlongtobeat.com, and I think it's only like 5 hours to beat. So I think I'm pretty close to the end. And it is a total blast. I tried to stream it, I think, last night on Twitch, and we had some classic Picasso because that game also has an FPS boost, and the whole gimmick is that you go really fast, which is when my computer struggles to stream. So that was, I'm sure, very fun for all of you at home that watch the stream. But yeah, you can go back and forth between classic and modern Sonic, and the differences are really enjoyable. I like playing as modern Sonic because I can actually see in front of me. I've never liked playing classic Sonic games in that you don't actually see what's to your right, but you're supposed to roll really fast to the right. That always kind of bugged me. You're supposed to like remember for the next time and pick up on everything.
Yeah,
which I
and
get.
then go back to it.
Yeah, but personally, I don't have the patience to play through the same level 1,000 times to get it right. At least not if that's the whole gimmick of the game, which those early Sonic games it is. And I've dabbled a little bit in those older games, but this is the first Sonic game that I will have ever completed once I beat it, and I'm having a total blast with it. I wish I had played it a little sooner because I've just been sitting on it for a while, and this is one I remember hearing about when the Series X came out, about how vastly improved it was. And this game looks like, I don't know if a current gen game, but certainly an Xbox One era game to me. It looks beautiful. The art style is great and vibrant, and obviously with that performance, it looks, runs, and feels like a modern game. And I really appreciate that about it, because I think that's a good thing about Microsoft's backwards compatibility, is that even really old games like original Xbox era games feel better to play than they ever have, and that's the good side of backwards compatibility. Whereas other places, they'll just directly port games to you and they'll lose something in the process. It actively feels like Microsoft is making the best possible versions of older games, which is just great for preservation and great for the industry. I feel encouraged to play older games because I know I'll be playing the best version of them whenever I try and finally boot a game up, which I love. So I'm digging Sonic Generations. That's a big thumbs up from me.
No, I'm the same way. I did see Sonic Generations. I did see you like stream it, and when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you had Picasso, so
Yeah.
it wasn't the best of the quality, but even then I was still like, oh yeah, this looks good.
Yeah.
It looked good. It looks like a newer gen game,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that people say the same thing about Red Dead 1. They're like, no, you put this into a new console and it looks brand new. Like you could still play it today and it would be a very good looking game.
Yeah, Red Dead 1, I'm curious to play eventually too, because that one, probably since the last time I beat GTA 4, probably around the same time in terms of how long it's been since I played. So a good 6-7 years since I fully played through that one. So
Yeah.
I definitely need to play through that one again because I love that game. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
there's definitely a couple where I'm like, ooh, I want to see the way that this looks. Obviously, I did test Skyrim and stuff, but there are some others where I'm like, all right, eventually I'll boot up this one to see how it looks.
yeah. So one other thing I'll talk about. I've been playing these 360 games. I've also been playing some original Xbox games on my actual 360 console with its backwards compatibility. So I've been playing Halo 1 and Halo 2. I don't think I ever actually talked about that. I think it's been so long that I didn't actually say what my project was last time we recorded. But I'm
I
doing.
think I made you say it.
I don't think you made me say it directly.
Mm,
I'm pretty sure I avoided it
okay.
until like a couple days before. Anyway, I'm doing a video essay series on at least all the main Halo games. So 1 through 4 ODST, Reach, and 1 through 5 ODST, Reach, and Infinite. So that's at least 8 games that I'm going to go through. I went through Halo Combat Evolved. You can find that on the YouTube channel if you are at all curious. And I have played all the way through Halo 2, and I'm writing the script for that video right now. So my goal is to get it done by the end of the month. We'll see if that happens, but that is my goal. I worked on the script for that some more earlier today. I am only through 3 missions of 13 in the campaign, and my word count is already basically half of what my last video was. So it's going to be a lot of recording, but I'm looking forward to it. And I just love playing through the Halo games. It's been probably only like a year since I played through all these games last, but that's been on Master Chief Collection, which is the only way I've played any of them for the last 7 years since I got my Xbox One. Um, I couldn't even tell you the last time I played the original Xbox versions of these games. And I don't have an original Xbox, and so I played them on my 360. That was also so I could record footage. And yeah, playing stuff at 30 FPS and usually lower, especially during vehicle sections in Halo 1, it feels a little weird to go back to because I've played these games more on Master Chief Collection now. That's what I'm used to, is playing them at the buttery smooth 60 FPS with with the anniversary art styles in these 2 games cases. So going back to them is interesting, and I'm still. If you watch my Halo 1 video, you saw that I definitely still enjoyed it, and I respect it a lot, even though it has a lot of limitations and it had a lot of issues in its development. And we'll see how I feel about Halo 2. I don't want to talk extensively about Halo 2 because that's what the video's for. But that's also what I've been playing. I've been going through the first couple Halos, and I will go through them all the way up until Infinite. I am terrified to see what the file sizes for the footage I capture is going to be. That's one thing that very much
Mm.
scares me as I get through generations. I'm curious what the jump from Xbox to 360 will be, and then what Xbox One and Series X will be in terms of file
And Series
sizes.
X is gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one to go through.
I like Harley's comment. Man, he's gonna start a new channel and
Yeah,
do
me
a
too.
Destiny retrospective.
I am doing a retrospective on something.
Mm,
I've been working on it while I'm at work.
mm.
I'm
What
not
what
afraid
could
to
it
talk
be?
about it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going through season 1 of one of my favorite shows. The answer is The Legend of Korra. Yeah, I'm going through season 1 of Legend of Korra. I'm watching that, and I'm talking about the season as I go through the episodes, and sort of doing an analysis of how it lives up A to Avatar, but B just how it stands alone on itself. In honor of the show coming out 10 years ago, last month. That's kind of wild. When I think about that show, it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years, which I know everyone says, but this one really doesn't feel like it's been 10 years.
You want to talk about time?
Oh, we gonna talk about time. Hold on, I want to talk about time when we get to Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I'm doing Chorus season 1. I do already have a thumbnail for that, and
You
I'm
do, yeah.
already at like 1,600 words or something like that. So I'm chugging along.
You're at
No Teen
1600?
Wolf. Yeah, about 1,600.
Okay.
No, Harley says no Teen Wolf. I will get to Teen Wolf eventually. Listen, Nick's gonna do games. I'm gonna do movies, and I'm gonna do TV shows. That's how we're gonna do it. I'm kidding.
I'll
That's
also
not
do
actually how
those
we're gonna do
eventually, but yeah, games are what I will enjoy doing more as far as this goes. More freedom with footage and stuff.
it. The original plan was to do Gears. I was gonna go through the Gears games and do retrospectives for all of those, but I don't have a capture card, and I don't
Sad.
want to just capture it from an Xbox stream because it doesn't look good.
Oh man, the first time I had the idea to do this was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I tried to just get, you know how the Xbox has its capture thing, like the recording and screenshot
Yes.
thing. So I set it to do 5 minute clips, and I was just like, if I just keep pressing this every 5 minutes, I'll eventually have all my footage. And then I realized
Oh
I
my
had to
god.
go through OneDrive and get every single individual piece of 5 minute footage, and I was like, nope, I give up. So I gave up for 3 years, and then I finally decided to do it because I finally have all the equipment I need to do it. I have a capture card, I have a microphone, I have a computer for editing, I have all the stuff that I need. And thankfully, the
Mhm.
footage is going to look much better now because Halo 1 was not made for 16 by 9. It was 4 by 3,
Nope.
but Halo
It was
2
4:3.
Halo 2 is full screen now. And obviously everything on the 360 and later is going to be as well. So that makes it easier for me because
Yes, it does.
I don't like how the 4 by 3 footage looks when everything else is in 16 by 9. So luckily I don't have to worry about that anymore.
No, you do not. But I think that's it for games. I mean, I can give an update on the Avatar TTRPG, the most cursed thing ever. It exists.
Are we sure?
Yes, it exists. They got delayed again, so that's another thing that I am not receiving anytime soon. But we got images, and the books look pretty cool, if I do say so myself. I am excited by what I've seen, and I do have the game technically. I have the PDFs for everything, but man, I want my physicals. I want my physicals. The books look awesome. That's what I can say. I'm about to just share the image
Just gonna
here.
say, you hear a lot of clicking over there.
Yeah, I'm about to go and share the image because it's really cool. Let me see. Can I just do this? No, I cannot. So let me do save image.
Here, while
and
you're
then
doing that,
do
Harley asked
that.
me for a Mega Man update. I played through one level of Mega Man and beat the first boss. That is my Mega Man update. It's enjoyable. I don't know when I'll get back to it because I'm playing a lot of Phoenix right now, which I could go into, but I won't. But I'm loving Phoenix, right? I will say that.
Boom, there's the avatar stuff. It's a low, footage
Hell
or
yeah.
photo
I'll see it
because
in
it's
five
from the
seconds or so.
phone. But I do love all those things that I will be getting. So, to go into detail, I will be getting the 3 books on the left. So I'm getting the Aang one right there where it has him and all the elements going around him. Then I'm getting the book with the owl. I'm getting one of those dice bags. I think it's the not pleather one. I'm getting that box of die. I'm getting that card deck. I'm getting all those books in the front, that map on the bottom, that Paisho tile right there. And I think those are the deluxe die, which I'm not getting because they were $200, and I
Hey,
cannot justify
no.
upgrading my $200 purchase to a to. How much did I pay for this? Did I pay $150? I might have. I don't know how much I paid for this. I paid some amount of money, and I could not justify paying. It was either another $100 or another $200. So I'm like, I'm okay with what I got. Because I think the dice are legitimately the only thing that I will not be getting. The deluxe die. But other than that, I'm getting all those things there. The book, there's a lot of books there because they're variants. So I'm getting the Aang one, which is just a different cover of the Korra and the Aang and Korra one. So that's going to be very fun to play once I eventually play it.
If it ever comes out.
Campaign. It will come out. I paid $100 for mine. It was another 100 to get the deluxe die, and I think the die bag. So I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. Yeah, deluxe dice bag. Oh no. Oh yes. Okay, that makes sense. But that's it. I don't really have any other board games right now, so I'm sad.
Very sad.
I want to play a board game. I want to play D&D, but it's not gonna happen.
Remember when you got me Tabletop Sim and I never played it?
We should play Tabletop Sim.
We should do something
Sim
with
again.
it at some point.
I absolutely love Tabletop Sim.
It's your board game fix.
Fantastic game. It is my board game fix because I don't have people to play board games with here, so I have to play board games with people online, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. We should have been playing King of Tokyo. Since we're doing a Godzilla episode today, we should have been playing King of Tokyo.
I'm just enjoying watching you format this thumbnail.
Image? Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Look at that! Look at that beautiful thumbnail. I spent like 20 minutes making that this afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, and I yelled at him, do this, do that, change this.
Which I need.
While I was at work. Yes.
The first one I sent him was a joke. And then he gave me
a joke.
Gave me about 2 paragraphs of pointers on it. I'm like, it was a joke, bro.
Well, I liked it. It needed to be better, to put it simply.
It's bad, but it can be better.
Things are good, but they can be better.
We're not talking about that movie.
No, but we are gonna start talking about movies. Guys, I have not seen a single thing in that amount of time. I mean, I saw Doctor Strange, which we'll get to. I watched The Lost City. There's not much to say about that. Didn't watch anything else. I've been going through Nickelodeon shows and watching pilots to see if any of them have held up in any way, shape, or form. The answer is no. There was one that I was watching. What was I watching? No, none of them have held up. I'll eventually get to Zoe 101, but I kind of want to build up to that by watching a bunch of other shows. So right now we've gone through True Jackson VP. We watched How to Rock. I watched The Troop. Obviously, I'm watching Korra right now. I saw some of the Nickelodeon. I saw some of the reboot of iCarly, and I never finished it. So yeah, I've just been watching a lot of TV mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm watching How to Love, and that's on HBO. Not How to Love, Made for Love.
Made for Love.
That's
yeah.
the name of the show. Yes.
I was gonna say How to Love. You got any pointers on that or anything?
No.
No.
So I've been watching Made for Love each week. Been watching Barry each week. And I think that's the only ones right now. Oh, Moon Knight ended, so Obi-Wan starts in 2 weeks. Miss Marvel starts in 2 weeks.
They start on the same day?
I think so, yeah.
Why would they do that?
I think this is the first time since the launch of Disney Plus where they've had 2 competing shows. And obviously the 2 competing shows when Disney Plus launched were Mandalorian and High School Musical, the musical, the series. And I'm not even joking. Those were the 2 shows that were getting the most views when Disney Plus launched.
Now hold on, what about The World According to Jeff Goldblum?
I did watch The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
I never
I never
did.
saw season 2.
I
I
forgot they
saw
made
it.
a season
It
2.
was. I wanted more out of it. I was kind of disappointed. I mean, you're gonna get Jeff Goldblum doing his Goldblum stuff, but I don't know. I thought it would be better, and it wasn't. Oh, the Imagineering story. That's a good one on Disney Plus. I did like watching that one. That talks about the parks and the creation of different rides and attractions, Epcot, Disney World, Disneyland, the differences between them, the drama that happened, the different CEOs that came in and how they affected Disneyland. That was a fun one to watch. It's very interesting. It's very well done. I recommend that one.
Mm.
Documentaries. I feel like I was just watching a documentary. We talked about the hockeymentary.
Yeah.
No. So I really haven't been watching a whole lot, guys. I'm sorry.
I've been watching some stuff.
You
We're gonna
have
do it.
been.
We're gonna do a lightning round. Everything I've watched since the last recording on Letterboxd, I will give the name. Whether if I rewatched it, I'll note that it was a rewatch. Otherwise, I will give the name and the rating, and I will move on.
Precisely.
Lightning round. All right. Bound, 4 stars. The Matrix rewatch, 5 stars. The Northman, 3.5. Beyond the Mat documentary, I gave a heart. Rush Hour 2, 3 stars. Man on the Moon, 3.5 stars. Eternal Sunshine, 4 stars. Jim and Andy the Great Beyond, a heart. Swiss Army Man, 3 stars. Doctor Strange, 3.5 stars. That was a rewatch. Multiverse of Madness, 3.5 stars. Petite Maman, 4 stars. First Reformed, 4.5 stars. Logan Lucky, 4 stars. Juno, 4 stars. And The Quick and the Dead, 3.5 stars. That's me the last 3 weeks.
There you go. I'm very glad that you watched Juno. That's the one that stands out to me, is finally he watched Juno.
It was always on the watch list. I knew it was like 90.
It was on the watch list.
I knew it was like
yeah.
96 minutes of just like, yeah, I'll get to it one night, and I was in a hotel with nothing else to do, looking through. I think Hulu was the first website I went to.
It's on Hulu, yeah.
For another reason, the only time I watch movies on Hulu was when I'm in a hotel. I don't know why. That's just how it ends
No,
up.
that makes sense.
I don't know why.
I do the same thing, kind of.
Yeah, it was between that and Walk Hard, which I still want to watch soon because I've never seen that. But I went with Juno. Harley says Bound is better than The Matrix. Bound is great, Harley, but I can't roll with you on that one. The Matrix is just perfect to me. I think I will say that. Bound is great. I was very happy with Bound. I'm glad I didn't have to give it a 3.5 because it was really good, especially the last hour, I will say. It turns into a great thriller. But The Matrix is just The Matrix. I'm sorry. Actually, wait, no, that's my opinion. I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Don't be sorry for your opinions, folks. That's the moral of the story.
Unless you like Rise of Skywalker. In that case, be sorry.
Mercy.
For your
be
opinion.
sorry.
Sorry, Mercy. Calling you out. Why do you like the Rise of Skywalker? Oh, Nick, you want to hear the worst opinion?
Oh, no.
Someone ranked A New Hope lower than everything else.
As in, like, below Clone Wars?
Let me read you what they posted today.
This is a very sick individual, folks. I don't want to judge them.
I'm not gonna say who it was, but they had Revenge of the Sith number 1, Empire number 2, Phantom Menace number 3, Attack of the Clones number 4, and A New Hope number 5. They're going through them in chronological order.
Oh, okay. So you just mean below everything else so far?
So far, yes.
Okay, I thought you meant below literally every movie in the entire franchise, which they still might do with how this is going.
But they said A New Hope was boring.
That's like what I thought as a 10-year-old. You got to grow out of that.
I know.
You got to grow up and you realize how fucking good that movie is. I'm sorry.
It's so good. It's honestly, it's such a perfect example of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It fires on every cylinder. A lot of it is saved from the editing, which we all know. I think, did we do a New Hope commentary? No, we didn't. Anyway,
we still have to do Solo is our next one.
Solo and then Rogue One. When we get to A New Hope, we'll talk about how that movie was saved by the editing. But
yeah,
no, that movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I don't want to judge this person, but all I will say is that I hope they get the help that they desperately need.
Oh, me too. Quirky and violent is better than Neo and Trinity, is what Harley says.
Now, I will agree with that to a point. I think Quirky and Violet are better than Matrix 1, Neo, and Trinity, but that relationship between those two grows on me throughout the course of the series. As far as those, like, comparing them one-to-one, yes, I will say that's a better relationship. Even though they kind of abandon that relationship in the middle of the movie, they're kind of separate for the last half of the movie. They've got a great dynamic. Neo and Trinity, though, they just get better as they go. Especially in Matrix 4. I love them in Matrix 4.
I
Anyway.
have so much to add here.
What?
I said I have so much to add here.
What do you mean? Oh, you're being sarcastic. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That was sarcasm, Nick.
One last thing before we move on from this. Harley says Caesar is greater than Smith. Look, I will say this. Where's Joey Pants been? Joey Pants just disappeared from movies and TV, for the most part. He was in so much good stuff in the 90s and early 2000s. Where's he been? He was in Bad Boys for Life, but I haven't seen him in anything else in like the last 20 years. We need Joey Pants back on our screens, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
So, okay.
You know, I'm more of a Koba fan, but I mean, Caesar's cool.
That's the best you had?
I don't have anything. You want me to say, hey, look, it's Caesar's wiener?
That was a better addition than you being like, Koba, question mark?
Next time we do a podcast, instead of Godzilla, we're going to do Planet of the Apes. We're going to be like, Koba? I kind of want to just do a different, like, animal franchise for each thumbnail going forward. Just to see,
that's a good
like,
bit.
Here's Planet of the Apes. Here's where the wild things are. Here's Madagascar. And just have random things that have nothing to do.
I like this.
And then eventually we'll get to Lion King and we'll just... I had nothing. We'll just get to Lion King one day.
Oh, okay.
I
thought my internet died.
What?
You went silent, and I'm like, did my internet die?
I was literally, like, pantomiming, like, and then, like, showing as if there was something behind me.
They can't see you.
I was doing that.
You realize this?
I know. Yes. I do this all the time, where I'll talk as if someone's there. I talk to the audience. I don't know if you do this. I talk to the audience.
I talk to you.
When they aren't there, I will talk to the audience, and I will look at the camera.
I don't. I just stare off into space and make sure my mouth is pointed toward the microphone.
I need health.
You need help?
No, I mean when we aren't recording, I talk to the camera and like the audience as if someone's there.
He's like Jim from The Office, except he actually talks. He doesn't just look into the camera.
Yeah, it's a very good observation. Speaking of observations, guys, we saw Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange 2 last week. I don't know what observation.
Yeah, it was last week. Okay,
it was last week. Yeah.
See, watching the first one for the commentary, we only did it like 2 days before, but it feels like a month ago in my head.
To me, it feels like 2 days before. But
that feels way further.
Time works differently for everyone.
Yeah, it's construct, right?
Speaking of time, guys, Doctor Strange 1 is actually really cool. I still like Doctor Strange 1.
It's solid.
And it's a very solid movie. It's by no means my favorite or one of like my best, Marvel movies, but it's solid and it's good. And I don't know why people hate it. I mean, I kind of get why people hate it, but at the same time, I don't. But Doctor Strange 2, on the other hand, is such a weird reaction because you have people that absolutely love it and you have people that absolutely hate it for one reason or another. And where do we fall on it? Well, let's start off with the story, guys. So last Thursday, we're getting ready to see Doctor Strange. I'll start with my theater experience. So before, we go see the movie, my friend picks me up because I don't have a car currently, and I didn't have a car at that time. But he picks me up. I'm trying to finish this like 6-page paper that I have to turn in, which I got an 8.5 out of 9 points. What? But I'm trying to finish that paper, right? So we go over to his house. We play Switch Sports, which we didn't talk about. But Switch Sports, I like it. It's fun. Anyway, we go over to his house. We're kind of like worried that one of us isn't going to be able to make it on time. We get to the theater. The lines are long because we got there. The show starts, quote unquote, at 7:10. We got there at 7:09, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I hate when this happens. Anyways, I order my stuff. And I order 4 people. I'm like, all right, he's going to have the nachos. He's going to have the jalapenos on the side. He's going to have a popcorn. She's going to have a pretzel. She's going to have a pretzel. He's going to have popcorn. I'm going to have popcorn. Can I get a large cherry icy? And he's going to get a cherry icy as well. Like, I order for everyone.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've done that for my friends, and my friends have done that for me.
yeah, but so we do that. I get my stuff, and I'm like, all right, peace. I'm gonna go wait inside and text you guys when it's about to start. So we're waiting. The movie starts, and they show up maybe like a minute after. Like they didn't miss anything really. Uh,
Jesus
we watched the movie.
Christ.
What?
That one made some noises I've never heard before.
No, that one was like a pretty normal
It
one.
might have been some distortion from Discord, like cutting you off and cutting you back in, but that was the weirdest sound I've ever heard.
No, that one felt like a pretty
It
normal one.
sounded like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Emperor Palpatine had a baby, and it was a burp. That's what it sounded like to
Oh
me.
my, Jesus Christ. Anyways, we watched the movie, and I come out of it thinking, hey, that was really fun. I enjoy the movie. I get some people's criticisms, but there's one major thing that I just do not agree with at all because of past precedent. But overall, I think it was fun. I liked the direction. I liked camera movement. There were great editing choices in there that people are making fun of on Twitter, which means that they don't know editing or movies, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Um, Obviously it was never going to be a horror movie, and Twitter is blowing that out of proportion. Some people saying like, oh, this should have been rated R. Don't agree with that at all.
No.
It was a pretty normal PG-13. I don't see why people were having a big hoopla. There is some fun horror stuff. Like I like what Sam Raimi was able to do. Obviously he wasn't going to be able to do everything because he's playing inside the MCU, but I think he brought enough to say, hey, this is cool. This is different. And it stood out amongst the rest, in my opinion. Definitely of the last movies that have come out, it's by far the most distinct. There's no way around that. The last, what is it, 4 movies? Right? Black Widow, Eternals, Spider Man, Shang-Chi. Those have been the last 4.
Yeah, post Endgame.
Yes, of the last 4, this one has stood out the most, in my opinion. There is something that harkens back to what No Way Home did, but it's done worse here. But I also feel like it was a studio mandate, which we'll get to in the spoiler section. But for now, I enjoy it. I'd watch it again. I'd go see this in 3D. I'm not going to, but I would. But that's it for me.
Oh, I guess it's my turn then. So
It is
my
your
theater
turn.
experience is not really as interesting, but I'm gonna recount it anyway. So I went to a theater that I have gone to a couple times, but it's not my usual theater. It's a little further away from home for me, from where I currently live, but it will be the theater that's about a 5-minute walk from where I'm about to move to in a couple months. So it worked out that the best available time for me was at this theater, so I went there, parked in the parking garage, and I had to go like 3 floors up to find a spot, which was not ideal, but it worked out. I was by myself. I got inside, sat down right when the trailer started. I thought there might have been a bad omen because I went to get my icy, and they were refilling the cherry, and it was going to take a few minutes, and I didn't have that much time, so I had to get a Coke icy instead. And I felt all gross doing it because I betrayed my one true love, the cherry icy. But I had the Coke one, and it was fine. It's a solid backup if you're in a situation like that where they don't have the clear, obvious choice in the cherry icy. But I sat down right when the trailer started. I don't remember what all the trailers were, but I remember the last one, which was for Avatar: The Way of Water. And I'm sick of the bit, so I'm not going to do the bit anymore. But I think the footage looks really good. Like visually, it looks astounding, like you would hope it would. The movie from 13 years ago still looks fantastic, so you would hope the one 13 years later does too. I'm very curious to see how far they push things technically in that movie. And I wish I could have seen that footage in 3D because I still haven't seen the original Avatar in 3D. I missed it in theaters. So I wish I could have seen this footage in 3D, but I will see Way of Water in 3D. Hopefully at the end of this year. They had that release date in the trailer, so they can't delay it now, right? Um
They still can.
I know. But yeah, so as far as the movie went, I was I'd gone in for the last few months thinking, like, there'll be some moments of style and flair that Sam Raimi will be able to put in there, and I like his style generally. I like the Spider-Man trilogy, I like Evil Dead, and Quick and the Dead, which I just watched last night. I love the style of that movie as well. Um, so I like Sam Raimi's style, He has a good eye for visuals. He knows what he's doing behind the camera. He knows camera movement and everything like that. And I was put somewhat at ease from the very, very opening scene where we had some camera movement and some rack focusing back and forth between the two characters in the opening sequence. So I was like, okay, we're in some good hands. And I was pleasantly surprised at how much style he was able to infuse the movie with throughout. I think a lot of it, particularly the first 45 minutes, I would actually say give or take up until maybe even the third act, a lot of it still does look like standard MCU. Um, the third act is when he gets to have a little bit more fun as far as the visuals and the iconography go. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at how much of his style was able to be infused in the movie. It's not like it's definitely not a horror movie. It definitely doesn't deserve to be rated R. And I think anyone who's saying that just needs to watch more movies. And I'm surprised at how many adults have been saying that because, like, you can watch R-rated movies to get a reference point. You have the option. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised as far as all that went. I did know some stuff that was going to happen beforehand, which you did as well, which we'll talk about. But I didn't really walk in with any particular expectations. Like, I liked the first one, but Doctor Strange isn't a character that I really care about. I've never cared about Wanda as a character, she's kind of the number 2 character of the movie. I didn't watch WandaVision, which probably helps inform some of my perspective as we get into this movie further. So nothing that I was necessarily excited for, but I walked out having an enjoyable time. I think it did some enjoyable stuff with the characters. It gave him a bit more of an arc, like it has a clear through line with him. I think it did one character a disservice, which we can get into. But all in all, I had a fun time with it. I will have no problem rewatching this one eventually. I'm not going to buy it on Blu-ray probably, but maybe I will if it's cheap. But yeah, this is the most I've enjoyed an MCU thing since Endgame of the stuff I've seen. Not that that's a high bar to clear, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I had a more enjoyable time with Spider-Man, but I like this movie more.
This is a better movie to me.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Because I think the first...
I like Spider-Man for nostalgic reasons. I like this one for filmmaking reasons. And that's how I differentiate the two. Which is perfectly fine. I'm very honest about my bias.
I think the first 45 minutes of No Way Home are kind of terrible. The parts that are actually sequel to Far From Home, which is a movie I don't like, that stuff's terrible to me. But I had an overall enjoyable time with the rest of the movie.
Yeah. But now we're going to get into spoilers because we can't really talk about our issues or anything without getting into spoilers. This isn't one that you can just dance around, sadly. Even though there isn't a whole lot.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like one of those movies where it's like the spoilers don't seem big enough that, I don't know.
It's weird. By far, it's character spoilers, not surprise spoilers, which I'm glad. I'm very glad about.
There are some surprise spoilers, but
which we'll get to immediately because we have a very funny story about that. It's funny and tragic, but I recommend it. I think Nick's probably like, if you get a cheap seat or a matinee, go watch it.
I don't care. If you wanted to see it, you probably saw it by now, is my immediate gut reaction. It's been out for a week now. But yeah, if you have nothing else to see, and if these movies aren't usually your thing, I think you might have an enjoyable time with this. That's the interesting thing. I think if these movies aren't usually your thing, you'll enjoy this more. If these movies are your thing, you'll enjoy this less.
Interesting. There's a lot of different perspectives about this, but guys, we're about to go into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Nick, you spoiled John Krasinski in this movie for everyone in the Discord.
On accident, let's be clear.
Yes, on accident, because I had seen that morning the whole John Krasinski is in the movie leak that had happened, where they had leaked images from the movie showing John Krasinski and Black Bolt in the movie, which were two that we didn't know were in it. But Nick did not see that. So Nick decided the same day when leaks had happened, which he didn't know about, he unassumingly posted a photo of John Krasinski that said, it was like one of the Photoshops, and it said something along the lines of, man, this Photoshop really just did a whole lot for the world, right?
Something like, I can never forgive this Photoshop for what it did to the world, something like that.
exactly. So I'm kind of like, Nick, you have a brain. You know Multiverse of Madness is coming out in a week. Um, you kind of might not want to share that when there's wording that says, I will never forgive this Photoshop for what it did to the world. So he posts it, and I was in the position of, oh fuck. Do
Yeah.
I take it down? And people are like, oh, I guess that's a thing now, and show that it was a spoiler? Do I leave it up and try to play it off like it was nothing? Do I tell Nick, hey, this is a spoiler, and ruin that for him, even though he doesn't care? But
And I was in
I
the
was like,
position of, oh shit, I have to get back to work now. So I was away for like an hour immediately after posting that.
yeah. So I wanted to kill Nick when he posted that, because I'm like, oh my god, of course he did this. Of course he'd be the one to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up spoiling it for our Discord.
Uh-huh. So my
and I
thought
feel
process,
very
yeah.
sorry for them.
Yeah, my thought process was like, whether it happens in this movie or not, it was absolutely going to happen. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that it was going to be this guy in this role. So, yeah, Harley says it. Marvel did something based on the internet deciding what should happen with characters? No. They did, yeah, they did exactly that. Like, I knew
I
this
mean,
is, I knew this is
up
what they
until
were going
this
to do.
point, they really haven't done something like that.
This one I was absolutely sure about. He's a big star. He's still relevant. You know, he did the Quiet Place movies.
It's a bad
people like
choice,
those movies.
but
Well, yeah,
it's a
that
bad
that
choice.
doesn't
This is
matter.
what happens whenever anything with Disney bends to the internet, is they make worse choices overall. Anyways, continue with what you were saying.
To me, it's like, it seemed obvious. I've been definitely of the assumption that it was going to be him in this role, probably Emily Blunt as Invisible Woman. Like, I expected this, and I've been figuring this for the couple years at least that theory's been going around. I didn't know at the time that he was in this movie, and that it had actually been leaked already. I was just like, yeah, this is definitely going to happen, and I'm annoyed because I've never particularly cared for him, and I didn't expect he'd be good in this particular role. So I was just like, yeah, I just thought it was funny. I didn't think anything else about it. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that there was a movie coming out 4 days later. It literally did not cross my mind at that particular moment.
Yeah. Obviously, like, we're joking
Yeah.
about Nick ruining it for. I mean, he did ruin it for Ramon, which I'm very sad about. I texted Ramon about it. He's like, I said, so did the Krasinski? He's like, no, because Nick spoiled it on Sunday. I'm like, I'm so sorry about that. He didn't mean to do it, guys. It was a mistake. It was oblivious. He wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
It does just kind of suck. It does suck though.
And
so obviously, I'm not mad at you, but it is one of those things of course it would happen to Nick, and he'd be the person to do it.
And the funniest part is how ultimately inconsequential he is.
Yeah, because the Illuminati dies immediately, and I absolutely love that.
Good. This is where I'm gonna be myself, but like, who fucking cares? Like, I know people like these characters, but like, who cares? It's the fucking multiverse. These versions of these characters do not matter whatsoever. We will get different versions of at least John Krasinski. I don't know if John Krasinski, but at least Mr. Fantastic. I think they'll still keep him on. But like, we will get different versions of these characters. These are not the versions that you're supposed to care about. That's by design, because they were gonna do it this way. Like, I don't see what necessarily the big deal about it is.
I don't see the big deal either. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care. They're a multiverse version of the Illuminati. And plus, the Illuminati is always a bunch of just arrogant shitheads that think that they're smarter than everyone, and they usually make things worse for everyone. So I'm like, this is kind of how it was meant to go, regardless. I mean, they shipped Hulk off into another planet, and that's how we got Planet Hulk. So, I mean, I'm just saying. But yeah, at the same time, I'm like, you guys had an entire season of Haley Atwell playing Peggy Carter, Captain Carter. Maria Rambeau is dead, so it's her daughter Monica. Inhumans? You guys think that Marvel's gonna bring back the Inhumans? Really? That was one that I liked, because I'm like, okay, at least they're acknowledging that actor played him, and I'm glad that he did come back for that role, because he was good. I mean, in the show for what he did, but then Professor X coming back, I could not care less when they were like, when the trailer came out and they're like, oh my god, is that Professor X? I'm like, I could not care less. Yeah, exactly. And
I
then
would be fine with no X-Men for the next 20 years.
we'll get X-Men in the next 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I know. I say I'd be fine if we didn't. It's like I don't even know how many movies of those characters. Like obviously there will be a bit,
3, 6, 10,
yeah, something like
11.
that. Yeah,
11.
I was gonna say 12.
13 with the two Deadpool
Those don't count.
movies.
Um,
So then 11.
yeah, but like I've had my fill. Even though they're probably gonna recast most, if not all, of these roles, I've had my fill. I don't need more of these characters. You'll get more baseline competency just because of the way Marvel's run than with Fox, who didn't know what they were doing with those characters from movie to movie. But it's not gonna be compelling to me. I'm not gonna care because I've had my fill of all these characters. And they're still, some of them are going to be in a huge shadow of the people who came before. So I just have
Mm-hmm.
no desire to see those characters come back, even though they will. Fantastic Four, I guess conceptually I'd be more interested in because it's never been done well. But we can talk about how bad John Krasinski is in this role.
Oh, he's terrible.
If he's Mr. Fantastic, then I'm definitely not interested.
It was bad. It was so bad.
I mean,
Like, it
to be
was
fair
terrible.
to him, he had the most basic expository dialogue, and that was his entire performance. He was there for exposition, and that was it.
Sure.
In terms of his actual dialogue, but like whether it's the script or if it's him or if it's a little bit of everything, there was no life whatsoever to that character. There was no
Yeah,
personality
and
to him
it's
whatsoever. And if people say, "Oh, that's how Mr. Fantastic's supposed to be. He's the smartest man alive." That's a boring character to me if he has zero personality and he's the leader of your franchise. I'm sorry.
it's not that he doesn't have personality, because he does have personality. It's that they've never been able to capture it.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that what's his name? Watts, John Watts. I was gonna say Tom Watts. Now that John
Tom
Watts
Waits.
isn't directing it anymore, I'm like, all right, who are we gonna get to do this? I hope it's not Peyton Reed. Um,
It's going to be a safe
if
choice.
I were to, it's gonna be a safe choice regardless. But I would say get Brad Bird in there, even though I don't think he'd play well with Marvel. But I'd be interested to see how he would do it, because he gave us the best Fantastic Four movie over 20 years ago, and it's called The Incredibles.
It was 18 years ago.
18 years ago, and it's called The Incredibles.
And he gave us a sequel 4 years ago, which was okay.
It's good. I mean, I think it's solid. Everyone that hates it, I'm like, I don't get the hate, but
I don't hate it.
if
I
you
just
don't like
don't
it
think
as much
about
as
it.
the first one,
Yeah.
yeah, no, then that's fine. I don't think about Finding Dory.
I'd rather watch Finding Dory again, but I've seen them both once.
Nah, I mean, but to be fair, I have a way deeper love for Incredibles than Finding Nemo. Even though I love Finding Nemo, I have it right there. I'm looking at it. But anyways, get Brad Bird to do Fantastic Four is my thing. No, I was fine with them killing everyone off, and the way that they did it was cool, in my opinion. I'm like, all right, blow up Black Bolt's head. That's cool. Her destroying Mr. Fantastic by putting him through a Play-Doh machine. All right, cutting Captain Carter in half. Wow, alliteration, guys.
There you go.
Cutting Captain Carter in half with a shield. I'm like, cool. Obviously, we couldn't see the bottom half or the extensive blood, but it'd be cool. But yeah, in general, I liked what they did with the Illuminati, because I'm like, oh, this feels forced to have them in here. And then Sam was like, all right, let's kill them all. And I'm like, yes, baby. Yes.
I will mention one thing that I found interesting was that we got this version of Mordo, but we never actually see him again in our main Earth.
We never see. Oh, and I will get to that in a little. The main Earth thing. I'll get to it right after this point.
I just found it interesting.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what's up with our version of Mordo.
Yeah, because they say that he's been trying to kill Strange for years, however long it's been since between the first movie and when everybody died, and between when everyone came back and now. Like, it's been years and years and years, and he apparently just decides to not be involved in this particular event. That seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, I want to know where Mordo is. That's one of those plot lines that's just been hanging for 6 years.
Yeah, it's just been dangling, and they didn't actually progress it at all.
No.
Not that
I
I'm.
mean, he was fine in the he was good in the role in this movie. I
Yeah.
liked him sort of joking with him at the beginning and then still being the same deceiver and stuff. There I like when he was like, "My brother," and he brings him in, he's like, "Okay, this is a different one."
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing that relationship before he drugs him. But yeah, we never see what's happening with our Mordo. But going back to the Earth thing, this is something that's really minuscule but pissed me off when I watched it in the theater. Okay, so they talk about the multiverse. Okay, they're talking about how, oh, you're from Earth whatever, you're from Earth whatever, right? So they say your Earth is 616, but it's not. Because 616 is the comic universe, and when they said Earth 616, I'm like, the fuck it is? No, this is Earth 19999. That is the MCU Earth according to the wiki before this movie came out. That is what they had canonized this Earth to be because it is different from the comics, and the implication was that the comics take place in a different universe, which makes sense because in this movie we see them go through the multiverse and we see them go through like a noir verse, in a paint verse, there's a animated one, and I think we go into a comic one at some point, and then whatever, it goes into a different one. Not that it matters because they're the multiverse, but the fact that they said this is Earth 616 really pissed me off for some reason, and it's so minuscule and specific, and I don't like that they did it for some reason. It just makes me mad.
I didn't know until right now that apparently there are no beaches in Arizona, folks. That's what that rant taught me.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that was a cheap shot.
Wow. It's it doesn't mean anything
No, it's
ultimately in the grand scheme of things.
such a minor
It's
thing.
just such a minor thing that I pay attention to because like the video games have their own universe. That like the Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales and the Wolverine game take place in a different Earth. That's its own video game universe that happens there. So I'm like, okay, so if we're keeping up with all these, just call it Earth 19999. It's so simple. Just keep it away from saying 616. It's such a minuscule pedantic thing that doesn't matter to the movie, but it took me out immediately. And it's something that a lot of, well, I'm assuming hardcore fans, and I'm not even that much of a hardcore fan, but I know that it's not 616, and that pissed me off, and it made me mad for the rest of the movie. But speaking of things that make people mad during the movie, people didn't like Wanda's characterization in the movie.
They didn't. I just didn't care either way. Because I didn't watch that whole TV show that was supposed to characterize her because I didn't care about her beforehand. And I watched one episode of that show and I just wasn't interested, so I never watched it. So watching this movie, I'm like, okay. I was like ready to roll with whatever they did because it's never a character that I've had any affinity for whatsoever. So when they did what they did, I'm like, okay, this is what they're doing, and I had no opinion on it either way.
Yeah, I liked it. This was the version of Wanda that I've been waiting to see. And I know that some other people have the same opinion of we were waiting for full-blown evil Wanda, Scarlet Witch, to show up. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, but it doesn't make sense with her character. She started off with a villain. She willingly joined Hydra. Then she joined Ultron. She was the reason why Civil War happened. She lost her husband. And because of that, she created an entire fake reality where she enslaved an entire town of people and then dipped out of there and never said, oh, I'm sorry to any of the people there, and never has addressed it again. And Doctor Strange literally comes in and says, I'm not here about Westview. Seemingly gonna give her another just layover and say, yeah, it doesn't matter. And then literally the end of the show, we see her with the evil Darkhold, and we hear her kids say mom. So I assumed, okay, she couldn't live without her kids, and she is now going to search for her kids in the new movie, and that's exactly what we got. It made perfect sense to me.
I don't know what to add there.
To me, it was fine.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
To me, it was the storyline that I thought I was gonna get.
Yeah, didn't bother me. I thought people would be mad about it when I saw it because I'm like, I'm sure this is not in line with what they think WandaVision was, which I didn't really follow, so I didn't really know exactly what happened. So again, I was just rolling with it, okay, because I didn't care. Because I didn't care about most of the people in this movie going in.
The issue I can agree with is that it feels like a retread of what WandaVision is. And I'm like, okay. But at the same time, it was cool. And I don't care. it This just kind of felt like a natural progression for her character. She always has a cycle of, okay, I start bad, then I do something good, then something bad happens again, and I turn mad and evil, and then I do something good. And it's just been repeating like that since her introduction back with Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't know. To me, it made sense. I didn't really have an issue with it. I think they do cool stuff with her. Ugh. The mirror battle is cool when she starts coming through puddles and mirrors and she starts attacking all of them through there. Seeing her full power set, that was also pretty cool. I think Elizabeth Olsen was good in the role. I don't know. I know why people are upset, but at the same time, I'm like, really? Really? But it is what it is. Let's talk about Wong. My boy Wong keeps showing up in these movies for like 20 minutes and getting that Marvel paycheck.
Good for Benedict Wong. I'm happy for him.
Good for Benedict Wong.
He makes every movie he's in, every one of these movies he makes better.
Movies and shows, because if you ever saw Deadly Class, I believe he was the teacher in there, and he was good there.
I've never,
Deadly Class
never
is a
even heard
TV
of this.
show. Deadly Class was a TV show on Sci-Fi? Question mark? Yeah, it was for Sci-Fi. I think he was in this one. Yeah, he was. Okay, cool. I'm not wrong. But Benedict Wong is cool. I like each time that he shows up. I hope he gets to do more. He still isn't doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I like that he is showing up more, and I like that he's having little steps into having more of a prominent role. He basically spends the entire movie with Wanda and trying to get out of there and dealing with all that stuff. So I am curious what they'll do with him. Maybe, I know that people are just like saying this on the internet, but they're like, oh, give him a TV show where it's essentially Strange Academy, which is the most recent comic run where Doctor Strange teaches an academy of like young sorcerers and stuff. So like maybe that's what Wong does. But at the same time, I'm like, he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He has other duties to be upholding. But whatever we get Benedict Wong in, I will surely enjoy it because he's never bad in any of these roles or any of these movies.
I feel pretty much the same. He makes all these movies a little bit better when I see him.
Yeah. And he's just likable.
Yeah.
He really is. That's really all it is. I don't know if he was like wearing a wig at certain points in this movie, but his hair kept changing, I think.
Oh, did it? I wasn't really. I never noticed stuff like that.
There were a couple times where I'm like, your hair looks different here. Yeah. And it wasn't because of like, oh, messiness or anything. I'm like, no, it looks like a completely different haircut or something.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But you were saying before the spoiler section that there was something that you didn't like. What was it?
So, what's her name? America Chavez?
America Chavez, yes.
She's a very fun character. I think the actress whose name I cannot remember right now is...
Xochitl Gomez.
There you go. She is really good in the role. I think she's kind of a burst of energy in the early parts of this movie. And I think she ceases to be her own character after about a half hour into this movie. She becomes the MacGuffin of the movie, and then she doesn't get to do anything until the very, very end. That's kind of my issue, is that the whole idea with her is that she's going to learn to control her powers because she can't control her power to travel through the multiverse. But they kind of abandoned that once Wanda enters the fold. It just becomes about Wanda wanting her powers because in theory, I guess she can kill her to take her power. And they don't really do anything with her as a character after that. She just becomes a plot device pretty much for Wanda. So I felt like it did a bit of disservice to her as a character once Wanda entered the fold, because the first half hour of the movie or so, the opening sequence and the opening action sequence after that, where she's involved, like, she's cool and fun, and you get the sense that she's important, but she doesn't really get her own characterization after that, which I found disappointing.
I could see that. I've never read anything with America Chavez. See, now we're starting to get into stuff. And like before, there was stuff that I didn't know about, but I had at least seen something with these characters or read, a comic with these characters. Never read anything with America Chavez, so I couldn't tell you if she was done well. I know there are some people that are like, yeah, she's really good, and some people that are very upset with her characterization in the movie, so that I don't know. But as for her role in the movie, I could see that argument of her just being a MacGuffin.
It just
Um,
yeah, like it just felt like they sort of abandoned that whole aspect of the character, which is her learning to control her powers, because it doesn't feel like she learns to control it. It feels like she flips a switch at the very end, and now she can control it when the plot needs
it's a
her
leap of
to.
faith.
Yeah, yeah, but Miles also
Yeah,
has some steps along the way where he does learn some stuff. She doesn't really.
yeah, no, that I
She's
agree
just
with.
along for the ride, not really doing anything, because it's all about like stealing her and killing her to take her power, and they don't really do much with her beyond that. So that was
Yeah, it's
disappointing
one of those
because
things
I thought
of
she was a really good screen presence and I enjoyed her in the movie, but they didn't do enough with her as an actual character, I think.
yeah, it's one of those things of like they never had a moment of Strange teaching her anything. Well, I mean, he doesn't know how to travel through the multiverse. So it's one of those things of she's a one of a kind person that Wanda's the only one that technically knows how to do it. But she needs America to do it. So
Yeah,
it's yes, it's messy because she is one of a kind and they don't know anything about jumping in through multiverses other than it can be done
yeah.
ish.
It feels like, in theory, it should be almost like sort of a Mad Max thing, where in the Mad Max movies, he's always like the through line, he's the vessel where you see the story of the characters happening around him. It felt like Doctor Strange could have been that type of character to her, and she would have been like your Furiosa, for example, who the movie was really about. But they didn't really go that route with it. It was still mostly about well, it was mostly about Wanda more than anything. And then it was about Strange, a little less than that, and then it was America after that in terms of the actual focus they gave to characterization in this movie. I kind of wish it would have been more about her and then have everybody else sort of secondary to her, because she like the whole movie is about her and her power. She's kind of the core of this movie. She's in theory the glue that holds it together, but they don't really give her enough characterization to warrant that.
Yeah. No, that's all fair. There was one thing that I was both disappointed by and not shocked. And that was the fact that there really aren't a whole lot of multiverses in the movie called The Multiverse of Madness.
There's only one you
Which
spend any significant time in.
I say two because you do spend time with the evil
Yeah,
multiverse or the
yeah,
multiverse
fine.
that got corrupted from the incursion.
Fine.
But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot of multiverse in this Multiverse of Madness movie, which I expected when I saw the runtime was under 2 hours. It was like 206 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, but I was like, Twitter was like, bro, it's like nothing you've seen before, bro. The multiverses in this movie are insane. And I'm like, the 30-second clip show of them going through a multiverse before they fall. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it was a cool sequence for the 30 seconds that we were there, but we never spend any significant time. Even if there was a chase scene going through different multiverses,
Yeah.
I would accept that. But
Like okay,
there's not there.
you know what they could have actually done, and I hate that I'm gonna say it. Rise of Skywalker light speed skipping is a better representation of what that sequence could have been.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yes.
We do go to Mustafar in the movie, but
In this movie.
yes, in this movie
That's where
they go
Godzilla
through
is.
Mustafar.
Yeah, that's where Godzilla
Yes,
is.
that is. Yeah, you didn't see him in the bottom left-hand corner. Godzilla's
Uh-huh.
right there.
Yeah.
We never explained why Godzilla's here. Godzilla's just there, man. He's in the bottom left-hand corner of
Uh-huh.
Mustafar.
Yeah.
But no, they could have done something like that. But it is part of that issue of America doesn't know how to travel through the multiverse. It just happens. So it's rough because ultimately you can't really do it without her knowing how to.
Yeah.
Because Strange can open portals, but you can't jump through dimensions. And the only other thing that we've seen that might be able to do that was the door in Doctor Strange 1, where they can like change the different locations, but I don't know if that also affects the multiverse. So it's like, oof, there's really nothing for the way that they told the story to allow that kind of thing to happen. But I'm like, you could have done more with the multiverses, even
yeah.
just having like a little bit more time in them. If you're doing a chase, do that, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you as far as that goes. Not that I expected much different. I figured like if they go to another multiverse, that they would sort of have one that they focused on, which is ultimately what
Which they
happened.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I mean, it's disappointing, especially like given the title of the movie. But again, I guess not like I
It is,
expected
but
any
I'm
different.
not
So
surprised.
I didn't expect any different. So I'm not mad about it. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you could have done a little more and you didn't, but whatever.
You could have. Which I know that the movie had substantial rewrites and a couple reshoots. I guarantee the Illuminati stuff was a reshoot that they put in there. But no, I am kind of like, just a little bit more. If you added maybe like 3 minutes of a chase scene,
Yeah.
3 or 5 minutes of them doing a chase scene where they're going through different multiverses and stuff starts happening to their body or something. Say like they're in the paint universe and something happens there, but then they're in a 2D world, so now they have to think with 2D and they can be like, oh, we're in a cartoon. We can do cartoony things or take damage different ways or draw something on a if they do the classic like, oh, we're gonna draw a train tunnel and then we're gonna go through it, which leads them into another multiverse, like something like that, I would have been fine with, and I wouldn't have harped on it so much. But there wasn't, in my opinion, a scene that was as a magic scene as cool as that chase scene in the first one when all the buildings and stuff are bending and they're manipulating the like train stairs and all those things around them before we get the reveal for the ancient one.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything like that, but there were cool magic scenes in here, and I did like their representation of magic, especially that music battle at the end.
Oh yeah, the music
I'm
battle.
like, that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a cool way to do it. Good. Thank you for doing something that's like, okay, here's our representation of magic through music, because in that they could have just done a hand-to-hand combat scene, but I liked that they used piano notes to represent different things and the way the score would change with them depending on who it was. Like, I'm very glad that it was more bombastic, quote unquote. It just felt more imaginative, quote unquote, instead of just, oh, Inception, which I like. Inception, I like the representation of magic in there, but I felt like they relied too much on hand-to-hand close range stuff, whereas here they were using more like the scene at the very beginning with the octopus. We see the razor going through like the bus. We're seeing them cut off limbs differently using different kind of weapons and stuff. So I enjoyed, or going through different puddles and things like that, trying to get into a barrier by going through someone's mind to break it. I thought that was cool. So I liked the way that magic was used here. It's different than the first one, which is cool. And I like that it was a Sam Raimi touch to it.
Yeah. And I don't remember where I saw it or where I heard it, but there was, I think Raimi was talking about how he didn't feel that there was a good visual representation of magic to this point with the character. And so that was sort of probably him and Danny Elfman working together was sort of where the idea for the musical fight scene came from. But like,
apparently Danny Elfman directed that scene.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember hearing that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Is that he directed that one, which makes sense. I mean, it's music. And it's his score, so I'm sure that he knew what he wanted, which was cool. It was directed cool.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was a standout sequence in the movie, and it segued into the third act where, it was sort of a clumsy plant in the first 20 minutes when he just buries his Strange buries his dead carcass from another universe just on a rooftop. It was like, oh, I bet that's not going to come back into play, and then he gets to possess it using the Darkhold in the third act, which is very, very fun. I love that. Like, that's the closest it gets to horror in terms of iconography, because it has him talking, looking like a zombie, and it has all those spirits that he has to use to fly over to Wanda.
I like that shot of them like as a cape as he's doing it.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my god, the makeup is so bad. I'm like, I don't care.
No, I really don't care.
Like, you can look past the makeup if you're invested in the story, and I was. It didn't take me out. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's makeup, all right. But at the same time, I'm like, it's cheesy B horror practical effect. I'm fine with it. I don't care.
It's got personality and life to it.
Yes. I looked at it and I'm like, oh yeah, Raimi would do something like that.
Yeah. So it made for a fun third act. Sort of unconventional. Like, I think what Wangers were talking about the other night, but like how he has to deliver a heartfelt monologue looking like that and doing his silly voice.
What?
Yeah, like it's funny. It makes the moments not hit quite like they should, but again, it's a
Yeah.
fun inclusion. It gives that third act more personality than it would have had otherwise. It would have just been a conventional Marvel third act otherwise.
Have Doctor Strange have the best third acts as of late?
You mean as of late, as in the 2 movies he's done in 6 years?
Yes.
I mean, I don't really like. It's fine. The first movie's third act. I don't really care for it either way. Like the action scene before Dormammu isn't particularly compelling, and the Dormammu
Yeah.
the Dormammu stuff is clever, but it's also a weird way to end a movie.
I kind of like the fact that the way that Doctor Strange 1 ends,
Yeah,
in that
I would.
it's
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's like one of the best third acts in the entire series, but like it's cool and clever to do once at least.
I guess what it is that like these are the two that stand out the most to me as
Yeah,
of late. Like Infinity War's cool, but that's a big like event one.
yeah.
Endgame 1 is cool, but that's like a big event. Like, oh, you've had this much invested into it. Uh
They can't
for
top Black
me, I
Widow when
think these
Florence
are the
says
two.
this was fun,
Oh,
though.
God, I
That's
hate
still
that.
the best third
It's
act of
so
any
bad.
movie, I'm sure.
I don't know. I feel like these ones focus way more, like the Doctor Strange third acts focus more on completing a character arc,
Yeah.
whereas I feel the other ones are so much more of just, all right, here's big explosion thing that happens here, and then boom, movie done. They good guy now.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
I feel like
in
these
that sense,
ones
yeah.
focus way more on we're gonna complete a character arc, and we're not gonna have a big bombastic final like third act. It's gonna be a lot more not like personal, but character focused,
Character
character
driven.
driven
Yeah.
third act rather than an action or set piece driven third act. So I guess that's what it is for me, is that I appreciate those kinds of I appreciate when they end like that.
Yeah. I do like it in that sense. It's all revolving around tying up what's been going on with the 3 main characters, even though it's lacking in some areas, but all in all, it's about resolving the stuff that happens with those 3. So in that
Yeah.
sense, I do
Which I can
appreciate it.
appreciate.
Yeah. And then after that, the movie wraps up with a little cliffhanger that they immediately resolve, which was kind of funny. Do you want to
I,
talk
I
about
didn't
that?
care. All right, so in the movie Evil Doctor Strange, which is not, I guess, the What If Doctor Strange, which is kind of weird, but okay, whatever. Just make it the What If Doctor Strange. I don't care. I hate What If.
Okay.
But Evil Doctor Strange says like, "Oh yeah, the dark hold is gonna take a toll out of you," and then he shows up the third eye, which in the comics, the third eye isn't necessarily an evil thing. It's just an evolution of your power set. So, well, the movie ends after Doctor Strange has used the dark hold to do dream walking to take over the zombie body and then get the other demons to become a zombie cape and then tell America to say believe in yourself, and then she tells Wanda, hey, look at what you're doing to the other people, and then Wanda dies, um supposedly. But after all that stuff happens, Doctor Strange is like walking, and throughout the entire movie they're asking him, are you happy, which I'm like, oh cool, we're getting essential with this. But um he's walking outside and he's happy, joyful. He's wearing a cardigan. And then he just sort of stops in the middle of the street because the third eye appears. He screams, and then it cuts to credits.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the post-credit scene. Doctor Strange
Scene.
is walking. Mid-credit scene. He's walking, all right? And then some girl, we hear the voice say, like, hey, something about something. I don't remember what it was. You get a look at it, and it's Charlize Theron. She's playing Clea. Now, Clea is Doctor Strange's wife in the comics. She's also the current Sorcerer Supreme, if I'm not mistaken, or she has been Sorcerer Supreme in the past. But she has now been introduced, played by Charlize Theron, and she opens sort of a rip, kind of Bioshock Infinite style. She opens up a rip in the street, and we see the Dark Dimension, which is where Dormammu was in
I
the
was gonna
first
say,
movie.
I thought I saw Dormammu there.
I don't know if I saw Dormammu, but I know it was the Dark Dimension.
Yeah, I recognize the aesthetic.
Yes. So she opens up a portal to the Dark Dimension, and we see Strange, like, just open up his third eye and say like, I'm ready. So the way that I'm interpreting it is that the third eye is just the eye of Agamotto, and it's increased his power set. And that's what, and it won't have the time stone, obviously. Right? No, time stone got put back.
Where'd it get
No,
put
what
back
did they do
to?
with the stones?
Oh, I don't remember.
It got put back to. It got put back. Oh my god, timelines. Anyways,
He put
it
them all
got
back where they
put
were supposed to
back-
go, but I don't remember where it was supposed to go.
Oh no! This timeline's version of the stones have been destroyed because when
Oh,
you
right.
return the stones back in time, that timeline continues to go in its fine direction, but this timeline has gone in its own. So by using the stones and then returning them, they're as if they are still destroyed.
Yes.
God, I hate timelines.
In this timeline,
and
Thanos used the stones to destroy the stones.
stones to destroy the stones.
So they had to
Yes,
retrieve
they're
them all from
gone.
other timelines, and they put them all back in those timelines to prevent those timelines from branching out.
Yes.
There we go. We got it.
That's exactly what happened. And also, there's a difference between timelines and multiverses, and it's really stupid because, anyways, I hate timelines and multiverses now. But anyways, it seems like he has a handle on it now, which, I mean, it's like an upgrade. It's as if you're going from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2, and then you go from Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. So, it's not really an evil thing.
Yeah, it was
is
just
what I'm trying to get out.
it was just funny because you end a movie like that with some
then you
horror
immediately-
imagery of like the evilest version of this character we know had a third eye earlier, and now he has it. It's a creepy visual, and he screams because like he's panicking in that moment, and then it's resolved before you can even explore it at all. It seems like he can control it and he's fine.
Yeah.
At least like just wait for the next movie to do that. Like it's not that big of a deal. You can
it's really not.
like does it
You could.
I guess it
And
does
that's kind of-
matter because he'll need to have already be able to control it if they pick that next movie up right where this one ends, or at least right where the post credit scene ends, because he walks right through with her. I guess
Now, hear me out.
Oh boy,
We get a Doctor Strange TV show where he's trying to control the eye, and that's how you need to get the character development from that to the next Doctor Strange movie.
okay. It was just funny.
No, yeah, it was just funny. It doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Is the Twitch acting weird? It looks
Mine's
like it's-
fine.
Okay, so it's just mine, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Harley says they really came up with with an absurdly convoluted time travel logic in the same movie they made fun of other movies' time travel logic. They 100% did, which is why I was worried about time travel and multiverses coming to anything related to comics, because comics are already convoluted. Now you do in multiverses and time travel, and you jump the shark, which is why I still think that they should have just stopped with Endgame.
It was never going to happen, sadly.
It was never going to happen,
Yeah.
but they should have stopped with Endgame, wait a solid 10, 15 years, and then start it up.
Didn't happen. We're stuck
think-
with this.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this is fine, but at the same time, it's not really hitting the same way the first three phases did.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a common thing for a lot of people. So I think everyone is experiencing the same thing of, did we actually want this to keep going? Or has the hubris finally got to them?
Yeah, everyone's still watching it though. Well, not everyone. I'm
But
not watching
they're
everything.
Still,
but-
yeah, but they're still getting big numbers. But the last year of them have been really mixed, so
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I had fun with the movie.
Me
We got
too.
this done within 45 minutes.
Wow, look at us. I had said
Exactly.
like earlier this week, I was in a really bad mood, and I was like, I do not want to talk about this movie for 2 hours. I've just
No, we
been
got it done in 45.
yeah, like I've just been less inclined to talk about movies lately for whatever reason. Just have not had Dexter. I will let you out in a minute, dude. Sorry about that. I have not had the energy to discuss movies that much lately, but this was fun.
No. This was fun. Exactly. All right, you go let out Dexter. I'm going to talk about why I think Godzilla looks pregnant. Guys,
Okay.
Godzilla out here looking like a Russian nesting doll. He's got like the little thinner top at the at the top, and then he just goes completely wide at the bottom. You know what he looks like? He looks like the character Flats from SpongeBob, the guy that's like, I'm gonna beat you up. He says like, I'm gonna kick your butt. He says something like that. His name is Flats, and he goes to school with SpongeBob, and he kind of looks like Flats in this photo in the thumbnail when Nick sent it over. I'm like, why is Godzilla so thick? Apparently, that's how he looks in these movies, which I always thought he looked fine, but looking at this profile shot of him, I'm like, ooh, he do be looking bit thick. Gotta lay off the people, Godzilla. You're eating too many of them. Looks like the weight got to him. I think we need to put him on Weight Watchers. I think by then, by the time we get to Godzilla vs. Kong 2, he'll be a little bit thinner. So that was my analysis of Godzilla being thick. But outside of that, do you guys have any comments or questions you want for us to answer or address? Also, hi, Richard. Oh, I watched Moana. Yeah, I rewatched Moana. I was kind of bored one night, so I was like, I wanna watch some Moana. I think the movie still holds up. I think it's very good. I think Lin-Man did a good job with the music. Obviously, I'm not a Pacific Islander, so I'm not going to speak about any of the representation or cultural significance there. But from a story standpoint, I liked it. I like the animation. I still think it's beautiful animated water. Um, Not as beautiful as Avatar 2. I think Avatar 2 looks amazing, which I never thought was going to be an issue. But we'll see what happens when we get like a story trailer for Avatar. Oh, we didn't talk about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights looked okay. Red Hood looked really clunky. A lot of the combat looked clunky, in my opinion, compared to like Arkham Knight, which is really weird. So that comes out in October, so we'll see what that goes. And we still don't have anything for God of War. So I am more and more convinced that the game is getting delayed. Especially since Corey Barlog came out and said, listen, we want to show you guys stuff, but it's not ready. So when we have stuff to show, we will do it. And we still haven't seen anything. So June would be the best time to show it because Summer Games Fest. And then if Sony's going to do their own direct, then they'll do that. But yeah, I haven't seen anything from Gotham Knights. We haven't seen anything from Midnight Suns either, which I'm not super surprised by because we did get a lot of gameplay early last year. So June will probably be the next time we see that at Summer's Games Fest. But man, Starfield getting delayed, that one hurt. Ultimately, I want it to be a good game, so I'm glad that they're taking the time to delay it. But there really isn't a whole lot for the last half of the year for me to be excited for. Movie-wise and video game-wise, there really is kind of nothing. I mean, there's a couple things.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, welcome back. Hi.
Yeah, our AC I don't think is actually fixed.
Ooh, dang, that's sad.
So I had to mess with a couple things.
Okay.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
I went from Godzilla being thick to me watching Moana. I then talked about Gotham Knights and video game delays, and then I was talking a little bit about Starfield.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's all.
All the stuff you forgot to talk about earlier.
Yeah, I just did kind of a rapid fire for them.
Should we talk about why we did this Godzilla reference?
No.
Okay. It's better that way.
Never address it.
Yeah. If you're in Safari Zone, we explained it yesterday.
Yeah. Harley says, I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be Bethesda buggy no matter what. I saw that as someone who's very much looking for it. I still think it'll be buggy. I'm just hoping, and he says that as someone who's very much looking forward to it. Yeah. I am also very much looking forward to it. I know Bethesda's track record, and I say this as someone who knows that it'll still probably be buggy, but as someone who's hopeful that they're going to take the time and be like, let's make it as little buggy as possible. I can be hopeful that Bethesda can change.
If it doesn't freeze at least once for me, I'll be like, hashtag not my Bethesda. That's what I say. I've got to have
doesn't have
that.
16 times the detail, then it's not your Bethesda.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game. Like, just kind of as I enjoyed that type of open world game, so I'm sure I will enjoy it. It doesn't make me sad that it got delayed. Like maybe in the sense that no, that's something I won't be able to play this holiday season because I don't. Yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned that
That's what I mean by sad.
movies and games are somewhat scarce the rest of the year in terms of stuff that we're
Mm,
interested in at least. But I mean, so in that sense, it's disappointing. But I'll live. I'll be fine. I can wait a few months.
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, it's sad in that I was looking forward to playing it, and there's kind of not a big hitter for the rest of the year. I mean, Forspoken might be mine. That might be my big hitter for the last half of the year. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. And I still don't even know if I'll actually be able to play that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like at
we'll
least
see.
usually there's. I mean, there's a handful of Switch games that I've gotten and will get this year, but the big Nintendo hitter is
Yeah,
going to be the new Pokemon, which I don't care about. So in that, usually
that and
like
Splatoon.
yeah, oh yeah, Splatoon in September will be fun. But other than that, usually there's a big Nintendo game for me to look forward to. I don't have that this year, and Xbox side of things seems fairly slim. Definitely not as packed as
Yeah,
last year because last year had like 4 or 5 great games in the last half of the year
yeah.
on the Xbox
Which
side of
is
things.
so like funny seeing people since the release. And this isn't me being Xbox defensive. I'm just saying as
Here he
someone
goes.
who spends a lot of time on Twitter. But it's really funny when everyone's like, "Oh my god, Xbox has no games. Xbox doesn't they're slacking again." And I'm like, "Did you guys see last year for PlayStation? It was also very lacking. And this year is still lacking for PlayStation. Like both of them are having issues and Nintendo. All three of them are having issues getting games out right now.
Yeah,
It's not just one company. Everywhere is having issues. Books are having issues. My board game, it's having issues getting released. Movies having to get pushed back or reshot or closed because of the pandemic, and now they're trying to find a way to come out. It's not just one company. Everyone is being affected by this right now.
yeah,
So it's just one of those things of like, y'all really just don't like Xbox, which is fine, but don't try to act like PlayStation has a whole lot of things to look forward to for the rest of the year because we still don't have a release date for God of War. Uh, I was about to say Forza. Gran Turismo came out, and that was very bad according to some people. Last game we had was Horizon, but that got overshadowed by Elden Ring. So it's been rough for PlayStation as well. And they have less consoles being shipped because they can't get them out. Like the chips are still affecting them.
yeah,
Ultimately, my point is everyone is having a hard time right now.
yeah. I don't have anything to add as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Just sucks.
Is Forspoken or whatever you said the alternate reality fantasy game? Yes. It's the one where you can like control the elements and you're like modern day, but you go through a portal or something and you end up in medieval times and you gain these magical powers. And it's kind of like Control meets Avatar The Last Airbender in a medieval time, is the way that I've been explaining it. Looks cool. Anyways, Nick, promote what you want to promote. Ah,
Uh,
dang it, Leah just got here.
Great
Hi,
timing,
Leah.
Leah. We're about to say goodbye, Leah.
Hold on.
Uh oh.
While Leah's here, guys, My Chemical Romance released a new song yesterday, and Death Cab for Cutie also released a new song last week, or this past week that we're still in. And Kendrick Lamar released his album, so it has been a very good week for music. And After Laughter turned 5 years old this year, which is a very good Paramore album that people hate, and I get some of it, but at the same time, I'm like, it's very good. But guys, My Chem is back. The first song in 8 years. It is so weird to kind of be in this position. But yeah. And yes, Death Cab is releasing a whole album, I think in like June or July, something like that. I know that they're going on tour, and my friend who's going to be in Washington wanted to go see them, but they're not even going to Washington, which is weird because that's where they're from. So it's weird. But this was a very good week for music. So if you are a music lover, I suggest, checking those things out. Um I'm sure you've also seen and listened to all those things. But if you haven't, make sure you do that. This will be 3 weeks old by the time it gets uploaded.
Oh,
But
stop it. It'll be on the podcast feed in a day or two.
Probably, yeah. Richard says, and that Paramore album has some bangers. Yes. Guys, make sure you go listen to Nick's Halo analysis. It's very well done. All of our links and stuff will be down in the description, so make sure you go do that. Listen to all those feeds and stuff that we do. Listen to our commentaries that we get out. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.